Yo, what is going on, Voyagers? Your boy Finicki back with another video, and today we are going to be going over the Season 8 weapons tier list. I know a lot of people have been asking about what do I think about certain guns, the nerfs, the buffs, all that I will be going into today, as well as I will give my opinion on the 3030 repeater that was dropped this season. I know we're a little late, about halfway through the season, but I wanted to give you my opinion, what my thoughts are, and I want to see if they line up with yours. If you guys want to, make sure you guys go down, hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds. It helps the video out so much, as well as make sure that you are commenting on the video saying if you agree, you disagree, why, all that sort of jazz. And if you have not already subscribed, please consider subscribing. It's down there, it's free. Why not, you know? But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. So before we get started, I do want to say give a shout out to JE36YT. Make sure you follow them. They are the ones that made the tier list. Giving them a shout out because I didn't last time, and so here we go. We are going to first start with, I guess in line here, we'll go with the Kraber, and I'm going to put Kraber. It's between S and A+. I'm probably going to put the Kraber in S just because of the one-shot potential, headshot, of course, and for like, what, 300 nowadays? And then a body shot, depending on if they're low profile or regular or fortified, all kinds of stuff. But a Kraber can absolutely change the way things are done in Apex. Like it can, things can change in like 2 seconds just with a Kraber. So you always want to make sure you're calming if there's a Kraber in play or not. Next is going to be the PK. I don't think this is a surprise to anybody that the PK is in S, especially when it's charged up, hits for like 120 or something, which is a little bit more consistent than the Mastiff. But for me personally, I noticed that I don't use it as well comparatively to MNK player. So I will be discussing that is the difference between an MNK and controller. Some guns are better than others, just depending on the legend or on the input. So somebody playing controller or MNK. So I don't pick up the PK as much. It's still good in the controller player's hands, but I think it might be a little bit better in a MNK, but like only by the slightest of margins. Next we're gonna go Eva, and I think I'm gonna hit B+ here, only because if you throw on a purple bolt, I actually would change it to A, not necessarily A+, just because if you're running Gibby, Caustic, maybe like an Octane or something like that, you being able to use bubble fights, it's not nearly as good, since the Mastiff is superior in a bubble fight. But being able to take over a, let's say, a building or something with a strong, once again, a blue bolt or purple bolt on an Eva is actually really strong, and I would definitely recommend. I'm actually going to put Mastiff in, oh man, I think I'm going to put it, no, actually no, it's gonna be S. If you aren't running the Mastiff right now, it's kind of, what are you doing? It is definitely the most meta on the ground gun with a purple bolt. I mean, the thing is just hits like a freight train. It does have its moments of inconsistency, and I'm sure you guys have had that before, but for me, I think the Mastiff is a pretty much necessity. My professional team, we try to have 3 Mastiffs at all times. I mean, obviously Eva if you have to, but if we're gonna run shotguns, you want to run the Mastiff just because of how Gibby works, as well as just how much damage it can put out in about 2 seconds. So can win you a fight very quickly up close. Very strong. Next is the Mozambique, and I'm actually going to put the Mozam at C. I wasn't going to put it at D, but since they added an extra shot, it's not bad. If you guys didn't know, as of recent, we're doing the anniversary series, and the limited time mode was where you had all white stuff, a white armor, and then like white attachments on a Mozam starting as a gun, and I didn't really hate it. I know some people didn't like it just because they were getting landed on and then just dying. So I would actually like to see a P2020 be the main gun instead of a Mozam, because it's not nearly as strong, the burst. But like I'm getting back to the Mozam, but it's not bad. We'll talk about hammer points in a minute, but for right now, I think the Mozam's in C. You really don't want to be using it past early game. It's one of the, I mean, you're gonna probably drop it in the first bit, and then it's kind of just a meme gun. Moving on to the first sniper besides the Kraber, we are going to put the triple take in A+. Now, some people may argue, and that's fine, but I feel as though the triple take has a lot of different options you can run with it, as in it could be your primary or it could be your secondary. You can kind of use this as a shotgun since it does automatically have the charge up. I can't remember what it's called, the choke on it. With that being said, the PK and the triple take are kind of similar, just because it is a sniper. The gun is better in a M&K player's hands just because it's snipers, but if somebody's using the triple take early game maybe as a shotgun, I think it might be better as in a controller player's hands. That's probably my only differentiation. This is very annoying to go up against, and I'm sure you guys have dealt with a really annoying triple take player from really far away, and the hits were still like 121 damage, and it's very annoying. But that's why I'm putting the triple take. So I was talking about the M&K situation for snipers, and I think that it applies to most of the snipers. And that being said, going on to the Sentinel, I almost put it in B, but we're gonna put it in B plus simply because of the charge up, being able to take out 100 shield just on one shot. So that's a really annoying gun. I don't really have much to say about the Sentinel other than I don't like using it, but I know some people that do, and if you are, good for you, but it's just not my cup of tea. Next, we're moving on to the longbow, and I'm going to put it at B. Not a lot to say, just doesn't have the rate of fire that I enjoy, and I think there's just better options when it comes to snipers. Next, we're going to move on to the charge rifle, and as annoying as this gun is in the most competitive way, it is probably an A tier gun because of the sheer annoyance factor, as well as being able to up your evo shields. Like, those two things put together makes this gun a annoying gun but strong gun in a competitive setting if you're wanting to maybe play zone or play outer edge and then shoot at teams far away and level up evo shields for your team. Longbow staying where it's at, again staying on the B tier. I've already mentioned why it's there. I will put the Mozambique at a B with the hammer points, because hammer points obviously make things a little bit different. If you want to run it, it's not a bad option. You would only want probably one person on your team running the Mozambique hammer points if you are going to run it. Next, we're going to go to the Devo. It's probably a B plus, probably more strong in a controller player's hands for sure. I will put the the turbocharger for the Devo. They're both pretty similar. I mean, I think the turbo does make it a little bit more viable in a medium range type of situation. It's not going to be a gun that you try to level up evo armors quickly. It is going to be a gun that you take a full-on fledged fight and just crank this bad boy. I mean, sometimes it's super inaccurate because it's going so up, but man, the turbocharger does make it a little bit better, and it is not a bad gun to have if you can find. But I don't personally pick it up nearly as much anymore, but that's where I'm at. The same is going to go with the Havoc. I think they're both probably very similar. If anything, I think it's easier to control on the Havoc. Actually, you know what? We're going to put it in B plus, and then I'm going to put the Havoc turbocharger in A plus because of the sheer damage and easier to control type of way. Next is going to be the Flatline. I'm going to put it in A. It's not quite the Flatline with the Anvil receiver. This gun is insane on pretty much any character. I would say it's really, I mean, I don't know one character that it's not really good on. The downfall of this is the range of it, but we'll get into the Anvil receiver part of things. And this with the purple heavy mag, the recoil is kind of hard to control. It goes in a weird little S pattern, but if you can figure it out and you can get good at this gun at medium range, it absolutely frags up close. But medium range, if you can get the recoil down with it 2 times, you're money, bro. You're absolute money. All right, next I'm going to put the Hemlock in A plus. Reason why: the burst damage on this gun is nuts. You can take out a person in about 2 bursts and maybe 3 bursts, just if you're inaccurate with your first a little bit. But man, this gun is so good, especially with the passive effect of being able to stun with the heavy ammo. Makes this gun very strong. Medium, it does have drop off for long range, so that is where the single fire does come in. But right now the Hemlock is not a bad gun at all to be using. So this season is a little bit different because of Kings Canyon, and I want to put the Spitfire in A+, but for me personally, I'm going to put it in A. I think other people would argue that it's S or A+, but for me personally, just not. It's too inconsistent for me recoil pattern wise, and even with a gold mag on it, I don't think that I want to use it because I feel like there's more accurate guns. But in the right situation, this gun goes absolute dummy. So if you are a Spitfire user, don't take this as hate. It's just a personal thing for me. But if you like it and you're picking this bad boy up and ruining days, I get it. I totally get it. Next, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on the Wingman. It's probably B+ or A. I'll probably put it in B+, but it's a pretty high B+, almost A. There's just other guns that are better right now. It is a very much glass cannon type of thing. You have to hit your shots or else you get punished very hard compared to the other guns that aren't doing this. So right now, until the Wingman probably gets a buff, I don't think I'll see it above an A maybe, but it hurts because I'm a big Wingman guy. Next is going to be G7. That's going to be A+ here. Almost put it in S, but I think it's probably in A+ here just because of the poke damage you can get, ranking up Evo shields, as well as the fire rate and just damage overall that this gun puts out is absurd. It's kind of absurd actually, what the G7 is doing, and it's so consistent. So I think overall G7 is one of the best guns besides right here, which is the R301, and I almost put this in S. I'm actually going to put it in A+ because I feel like it is very, very good. Almost, I would say, the most consistent gun. I'm going to throw probably the same thing in with the Anvil receiver, except I'll probably put it a little bit more ahead if I could. Yep, there it is. Reason why is because the only downfall with the R301 has always been the range, and if you have on the Anvil receiver with a 3x or 2x, you're able to use it like a G7, except you get the ability to put it on full auto. So I think the R301 is nuts right now. You should definitely be picking it up if you have the chance and getting used to the recoil pattern. It is a little hard to get used to, but if you can master R3, you're insane. Continuing on, we're going to use the alternator, and that is going to be actually B+, lower B+, but it's once it got its buff, I think it actually is a somewhat viable gun if you want to use it as a secondary. Not my favorite, but it is what it is. And I'm going to put the at B. I would put it at B+, but it's just not as good. I think it does fry. It has its moments for the but it's just not that good. Next, I'm going to put the only D tier, I think, and that's the P2020, and this is why I argued beforehand why I think it could be the gun that people have off of drop if they do decide to keep that limited time mode as a permanent mode. I'm going to put the P2020 hammer points as C. I could argue maybe B, but for now it's just not a thing really. I don't see a lot of people rocking hammers just because it's kind of hard to find, and two, it's just not, I don't think it's as good as maybe the Mozam. Next is going to be the Volt. I'm going to put it at S. I know it just got a minor nerf, but to be honest, this gun is insane. It does so much more damage than the 9, and it doesn't shoot as fast, so therefore it's easier to control recoil. Now, I'm not hating on the 9, but I'm saying the Volt is insane and one of the best guns on the ground right now. You should definitely be picking it up. Now going to a controller heavy weapon, which I think is the Prowler. So if you're a controller player, you should be definitely picking this up for your team if you have a multi-input team as an M&K and controller. It is so good, super duper strong, and that's all you would pick that up over the Mastiff in my opinion. It's what I've been doing. Anyway, R99 goes to A+. Super good gun, just doesn't quite have enough juice to beat most of these up here. So it's not a bad gun to have off drop, middle to late game. You can even take it into late game, but for me personally, I don't try and use it nearly as much anymore. There's the wing there is whatever that is. Here is the 30-30 repeater, and if you guys wanted my opinion on it, it is similar to that of the snipers besides the charge, where it does feel stronger in M&K players' hands. That's just because snipers are just better in their hands, and that is fine. But for me personally, when I'm using it, it is about an A, maybe B plus, but I'm gonna put it in A just for respect of other people that are using it that are way better than me. So it's in a decent spot. They didn't make an overpowered weapon, but I think it has its moments to be able to hold out a team or just be able to crank out an Evo shield up to purple from long distance. And next is going to be the flatline with the Anvil receiver, and this is going up in A plus because it is a very strong. It's similar to R3 where it cranks close to medium range, but it's always had that problem in the long range. So having a 2 times and 3 times with this gun is nuts. And I think that's it. It's going to be everything, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Tell me if you agree, you disagree, why, if not, all that sort of stuff. But I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. God bless. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Deuces.